Today we're going to look at solving inequalities. To solve an inequality, we need to work out what we know about x using the information from the inequality. So in this inequality, we know that 2 times x take away 5 always gives us something bigger than 7. We want to work out what that tells us about the size of x. Now this is very similar to when we're solving equations, when we have some information about x and then we work out what it tells us the number x is. So if this question was 2x minus 5 equals 7, what we would do is add 5 to both sides. So we would have 2x minus 5 equals 7, and we'd add 5 onto both sides like that. We know that the plus 5 and the minus 5 are inverse operations, so they would cancel each other out, and we would now have 2x equals 12. So we're closer to knowing what x is. To get even closer, we need to get rid of the 2. This 2 times is the x, so to get rid of it, we do the inverse operation, which is to divide by 2. And remember that we do the same thing to both sides. So the divide by 2 cancels the times by 2 on the left hand side, and that gives us x equals, and then 12 divided by 2 is 6. That's exactly the same method for an inequality, except instead of having the equal sign all the way through, we will have the inequality symbol. So this tells us if we know that 2x minus 5 is bigger than 7, then what we know about x is that it is bigger than 6. So if I needed to show x on a number line, I would know that x is anywhere bigger than 6. Let's have a look at a couple of harder inequalities to solve. They're no more tricky for us because we know how to solve them if they're equations, and we know that for inequalities it's the same method as for equations, but we just have a different symbol in the middle. So for this one here, if it was an equation, I would want to add 1 to both sides because that's the inverse of take away 1. So I'm going to do exactly the same with my inequality, keeping that inequality sign instead of an equal sign. So now I've added 1 to both sides. My plus 1 cancels out my minus 1, and I get x over 4 is greater than or equal to 3. Now I know what x divided by 4 is. To get rid of that divide by 4, I need to do the inverse, which is times by 4. And remember to do the same thing to both sides. So my divide by 4 and my times by 4 cancel each other out because they are inverses. So I now only have x on the left hand side, and on the right hand side I have 12. So if I know that x divided by 4 take away 1 is bigger than or equal to 2, that tells me that my number x is bigger than or equal to 12. Let's have a look at this last one here. Looks a bit tricky because it's got brackets in it, but that's not going to worry me because I know how to get rid of brackets. To get rid of brackets, I times everything in the bracket by the number outside the bracket. So I do 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times 1, which is 3. So I have 3x plus 3 on the left hand side, and I've still got 2x minus 3 on the right hand side. Now this is a trickier equation because it's got x's on both sides. But that's not a problem. So I know if I've got x's on both sides, I solve the equation by getting rid of the smallest number of x's. So I've got 3x or 2x. The smallest number of x's is 2x, so I'm going to get rid of that. How do we get rid of it? Well, we just take it away. So if I'm taking it away from this side, I'm going to take it away from this side as well. So my 2x take away 2x makes nothing on that right hand side. So all I have on that right hand side is minus 3. On the left hand side, I have 3x here and take away 2x here, which just gives me x, and then don't forget that plus 3 as well. So I've now got x plus 3 is less than or equal to minus 3. So to get x on its own, I just need to get rid of the plus 3. That's easy because I know the inverse of plus 3 is take away 3, and I know I need to do it to both sides. So plus 3 take away 3 cancel each other out because they're inverses, and I get x is less than or equal to minus 6. And there we go. I've now solved that inequality. So now it's your turn to have a go. I'm going to give you 2 questions to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see the answers, press play again. Okay, so to solve the first equation, we're going to start by getting rid of plus 3. So that means we're going to take away 3 from both sides. So my plus 3 and my take away 3 cancel, and I now have 4x is greater than 12. If I've got 4x, that means 4 times x. So to get rid of my times by 4, I need to divide by 4. Remember to do it to both sides. So my times by 4 and my divide by 4 now cancel. So on the left I have x. On the right I have 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And then if we look at the other inequality, 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 4x plus 1. There's x's on both sides here, so I'm going to start by getting rid of the smallest number of x's. There's 2x or 4x, so the smallest number of x's is 2. So I'm going to get rid of those 2x. To get rid of them, I just take them away. And remember to take them away from the other side as well to keep it balanced. So then on the left hand side, if I've got 2x take away 2x, that just leaves me with the 3. And on the right hand side I had 4x, but if I take 2x away, that leaves me with 2x, and don't forget the plus 1 as well. Right, I've now only got x on one side, but I need to get it on its own. So let's start by getting rid of that plus 1. The inverse of plus 1 is take away 1. So let's take away 1 from both sides. That means my plus 1 and my minus 1 can cancel. And on the left hand side, I've now got 2. And on the right hand side, I've got 2x. Now I need to get rid of the 2. It's a 2 times x. So to get rid of the 2, I need to divide by 2. And I need to do the same thing on the other side. So my times and my divide by 2 cancel. So I have x on the right hand side, and 2 divided by 2 is 1 on the left hand side. Now that looks a little bit weird like that, because that is saying 1 is smaller than or equal to x. We'd normally write that the other way round. X is bigger than or equal to 1. We've still got the crocodile eating the same thing. Remember, crocodiles eat the bigger amount, so x is bigger than or equal to 1 here, and it's the same as here. X is bigger than or equal to 1.